So I've asked Tap to tell us one of his favorite stories from growing up in the 30s and 40s in West Virginia. And I've given him about 10 seconds to come up with it.
Floods. We had floods on the river.
Well, it was during the flood, and Jack Oliver, one of my friends, lived at the highest point on the island.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't have water in his house. So anyway, I got in the boat and I rowed to his house, which is about, I don't know, 5-6 blocks. And he got in the boat with me and we went down to the restaurant. Well, there was about 2 foot of water in the restaurant, but people were actually sitting in there having lunch. And so we sit down at the table, and I heard some woman say, "Well, did you hear about a boat overturned up there on Erie Street?" And I turned around and said, "Erie Street?" I said, "That's where I lived. Who was it?" She said, "I believe it was a Mrs. Mann." I said, "My God, that's my mama." So I got in the boat and I rowed home, and her and my brother-in-law, Dick Doherty, were going to go to the grocery store. So they walked out on the porch, down the steps, to get in the boat, and Dick overturned the boat. So they got out and walked back up the steps and went in the kitchen. My mother went upstairs to change clothes. Of course, in the winter, it was cold. We didn't have any heat at all. And when I come in to the kitchen, Dick Doherty's pants were standing there, frozen solid, right there on the floor, the whole pair of pants. And that's one of my favorite stories.
Oh, man. So the background of that is that Tap grew up on Wheeling Island,
The basement was above
and it would get flooded every so many years, and people just adapted so they could just go to the grocery store and go to the restaurant, and they built their houses with the first floor above ground. So
One time,
basement was above ground.
my dad never went to work because the water had got in the basement and on up to the first floor, so we were living on the second floor of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my dad would just open the window, go out on the roof of the porch, and get in the boat and go to work.
Yeah.
Well, he went out there one morning and the boat was hanging by the chain and the water fell. So it was the only time my dad ever missed a day of work.
Wow.
He couldn't get in the boat.
Because it was hanging.
So when I was on the Mississippi River, I talked to a guy that was a riverboat captain, and I told him about that. Well, he had a banjo, and he made up a song. The only time Mr. Mann never went to work, and so on and so forth. He actually made a song about that.
Wish we had that one.
Yeah.